We're back.
Yeah, what we'll do is
Always been here.
we'll set up we'll start the giveaway when we go on break so that the people can enter and then we'll come back. Either way. So there we go. Welcome back, everybody. We ready to see what happens here tonight in this amazing
I'm so
table?
nervous.
I'm so nervous. Oh my
You have all
god.
these cards, and I don't
my
know what
God.
they are.
Oh my god.
Wait, you have cards?
I have notes and stuff for what happens if people say yes or people say no, or if the party turns into PvP. I am prepared.
Wait, where?
Just
where-
PvP.
There's a chance.
Fuck.
I am prepared.
Solas, you seem to feel that you have a choice in this matter.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that'd be funny.
I've been really stressed about this for a week. I want everyone to know that.
It's true. It's true.
The stress be real.
She said, welcome to this side, Meta Mike. This side has cookies.
Nice.
Oh, he's so invested in my
Even says
set.
you're getting into character as a dwarf with a root beer.
Yeah, root. A beer cultivated of the
Beer.
roots of sugar.
If my chains reached to the store, I'd have actual beer, but they don't.
So, last week's episode started with you in that dwarven safe room, basically just discussing a plan of how you were going to deal with this creature wandering the halls, how you were going to escape, how you were going to try to avoid them, whatever you were going to do, fight. Ultimately, you decided to fight. After the elf on Sala explained to you, though, that there was still gear left over necessary on his dead party members' bodies, you decided to go look for that, scrounge up everything you could, because any item could make the difference in staying alive or dying while trying to evade this creature. After looting the bodies and heading towards the exit, you found yourself coming to a massive chamber with huge pillars and a giant staircase, multi-tiered staircase. At which point you were ambushed by the Beholder, who knows his lair inside and out, strategically destroying other exits and other pathways in order to make sure that if anybody was going to come in or escape, they had to do it that way. You walked right into it. And then there was this crazy, amazing battle with magic and spells and spell deflections, and the Beholder trying to melt people and kill them, and some clutch saving throws, and then some not so clutch saving throws, which ultimately led to the death of both Voss and Thalen.
My house.
Cue sadness. Or it was just they died. It was bad. Voss is now a stone statue at the top of the stairs near the door to leave, and Balin's cold,
brutal.
dead body was dragged up top above, where he now awaits to possibly be brought back to life. And then through all of this, our dwarven cleric Solas had a brief moment of a reignition of not even necessarily his faith, almost like an instinctual reaction to try to bring back somebody who was close to him, and in doing so attempted to cast a spell trying to reach out to his god or any god for the ability to bring Thalen back. And in doing so, someone answered. And that someone was something that some of the party members have actually become fairly familiar with in one of the Veiled Queen's servants, the Shadar-Kai, who are sent to collect the souls of those who the Veiled Queen is invested in, adventurers, brave warriors, and people of repute whose souls need to be weighed for their deeds. And so the Shadar-Kai offered a deal to Solas. And the details of said deal we did not get to as we ended the episode at that moment, right after the Shadar-Kai had offered him this. So,
Real quick,
so
is there a number tonight?
we should do the number. Okay, yeah, lucky number tonight. What's the lucky number tonight going to be?
It's hidden. 1. Not 1.
Nat 1 is tonight's lucky number, ladies and gentlemen. So remember, use the roll command, and if you roll 1 tonight, you may award one of the players, one of the alive players, inspiration.
If you fail as hard as the dead players did, you can give the alive players.
And remember,
inspiration.
Inspiration cannot be awarded to the DM. We have stuff in the action point store for that. If you want to make the players' lives miserable during combat, which actually the action point store is turned off at the moment because it's not combat time.
The vast majority of the negative things and combat related items are turned off right now.
If you do get it, just remember to get a hold of the mods and keep reminding people like, hey, I got it, so we can check it out, and then you can award the inspiration. And you know what? This can't be, I can't say this often enough. Try to be quick about it. I don't want to spend all day watching you people struggle to decide who gets inspiration.
Jeez, I don't know. Who deserves it? None of them.
Listen, I mean, random is great, you know. Better than back and forth, I'm not sure. Because I'll tell you one thing, as long as we've all been playing together, any one of these individuals could really use inspiration at any time. So you're not hurting nobody. Okay.
Some of us need it 4 times in a row.
Yeah, so I've seen people fail some really important skill checks and saving throws in random places.
Oh, and really quick, the bonus book tonight was brought to you by, well, you, because we hit our $75
You got
goal.
inspiration.
That's true. See, I
For
knew
our
we had
bonus
something else to
giveaway.
mention.
Yeah, that was
Thank
it.
you. Thank you so much for all the donations, all the gifted subs, everything that you all do as a community to support us. We really appreciate it. You're amazing. But yeah, the Eberron was triggered as an additional giveaway by hitting that giveaway goal. And thank you so much. This is yours for you, the community.
Yeah.
You know, so
We're going to make that a regular thing.
we're gonna make that a regular thing.
If we hit our donation goal of $75 to unlock the additional giveaway, you guys get more stuff.
Yeah,
More
stuff.
things.
Stuff. And we're just probably going to continue to make small incremental improvements like that to the channel as just more and more support pours in.
Yeah,
and it's
and
all
go
thanks
for-
to amazing people like you who continue to show up and watch us and subscribe and all that great stuff. It's
You guys are
awesome. You're all amazing.
Yeah, and going for like community goals. So for the money we've managed to accumulate so far, we have the artwork done for the new content for the YouTube channel. So,
Yeah, that's on the way.
yeah.
That's done now.
I've been fiddling with it this week, working on some projects, and Rowan's really starting to disturb me. I think you broke him, Andy. I think you broke him. Paper cut, words, reading, meaning. Is that it? Meaningful words, compassion, love.
So,
Orange chicken.
with all that being said,
These are charades.
we come back to where we left off. Just above the coastline, the cliffs down below, after making it up the hidden path protected by magic and obscured, you find yourselves standing in this kind of grove. And Lumi, Hargraves, Alfarius, you hear Solas's words, and you see him there. But you don't see anything else. Nothing else out of the ordinary. Nothing is different. Just the breeze from the ocean, the sounds of seagulls, the sound of the air, wind pushing through the shrubs and through the bushes and the tree branches nearby. Bruised, battered, beaten. People close to you were heinously murdered, killed right before your eyes. And so you're finally getting a short intermission, a short rest, some might say, to like deal with these, to deal with this baggage. Solas, on the other hand, as you heard the voice and turned and saw the Shadar-Kai, the world kind of stopped. It's gray, almost like the world is the objects in the world around you are kind of being torn at and pulled away from what they are. Everything has started to slow, and you hear disembodied voices and echoes and sounds of individuals and people whom you do not recognize at intermediate or close, sometimes far distances from you, echoing through this whatever is happening, this realm that you have now stepped into. And so the Shadar-Kai waits for a response from you.
What does me have to offer? Me life. That's all me has.
So the Shadar-Kai kind of moves closer to you, walks kind of around you, beside you, and he kind of just looks down at Thalen's body. Your life is what the Veiled Queen asks, but not in the way that you might first surmise. She asks only that you disown your connection to Parathor and instead take up the mantle of a cleric in her service, foregoing all powers and connections to the light in order to absorb the shadow and serve her ends and means, as she has taken in notice and an interest in the things that you have done, and she has picked up that you have a different path about you, a different fate. You are not meant for the light. And negotiate this with Parathor, she already has. You have misplaced your faith in his particular approaches, in his powers, disillusioned with the connection to the gods and the games that they play. The Veiled Queen does no such things. You will benefit greatly from a direct connection to the powers and abilities that she offers. It better suits your proclivities, one might say. As he continues to kind of move around the outside of Thalen's dead body, he looks at you, folds his hands in front of his face in what would more or less be you'd be familiar with as the kind of the sign of the raven, which is a formal praying posture for those who are asking for something from her or in service to her. That being said, she also offers, as a gesture of goodwill on her behalf, to bring back Thalen, but also to bring back Voss. Both of your friends will be restored to life, assuming, of course, that you agree to dedicate your life to the path of the Veiled Queen lays before you, into the service of us, the Shadar-Kai, and to the Shadowfell in her domain, where I believe she has interesting information at her disposal as to the fate of your people who were lost there. This is what she asks: power and decision-making over your fate and your destiny is what she offers in return for a life of service on this plane and the next.
That's good.
This all hits Solas kind of hard, like a bag of bricks, as he kind of gasps a little, shocked for a moment. He looks down at Thalen's corpse, thinks on the Shadar-Kai's words, He looks up at it.
And all he gets in return is like this kind of coldish indifference stare from this being, this almost celestial like presence, but instead of exuding that light, it exudes like this deep, disturbing shadow. This sullen, almost this brutal melancholy. There's almost nothing there. To the elven features, they're nothing alike with those you have met, like Thalen or other elves. It just stands simply cold in return, waiting for almost like it's business as usual for this being.
He said to me that the gods play games. And honestly, me's inclined to believe you. Where was Parathor and all me asking? Where was Glorindel when that elf was asking for her? Where have been all the gods when anyone asks? When these dwarves were slaughtered in their homes? Methinks the only god that cares is your God, as ye have said. For she sends you to come collect the dead, as me has seen countless times. But methinks that's all she cares about. If me is to be saving anyone in this life or the next, me will do it without the help of any god.
Your skepticism makes sense from a point of view of a mortal living on the plains. I do not take it upon myself, though, to try and determine the thinking of the gods and their responsibilities and their domains. And knowing full well that the only reason clerics and paladins and those with divine gifts exist is so that the gods do their work through them. So if you ask yourself, where was Parathor, or where was Helgrit or the other gods when these terrible tragedies occurred, simply one must only ask, where were you when these things occurred? For the gods may only act in the material plane through their vessels. So binds the tablets of providence, made and agreed upon by all of them in the prime pantheon. If this is your final answer, that you wish to turn your back on this offer, your friends, your family, your kin, and the world at large, so be it. But one must only look inward and wonder, what could I have done with the power that I was given? Could I have made a difference?
Me was there. Me saw what that thing does in a land of no light. And what me saw was that maybe the gods don't provide power, but a crutch. And that maybe me is weaker with that crutch. Me would like to walk on me own two legs, and me would like to run towards me family, who I will save.
A noble gesture. Fruitless, misguided, but all the same. I will return your reply. Taiki's blessings moving forward on your path. You will not be receiving an offer like this again. The Veiled Queen does not hold grudges, but she's also not wanting to help those who simply don't appreciate the things that she's willing to do or what she's capable of doing. No mortal can really understand just what the world would be like if the gods did not exist and they did not do the things they do behind the veil. But so be it. And then he disappears, and you're just sitting over Thalen's corpse.
Solas releases a heavy breath, and as he's bent over Thalen, he whispers, "Me is sorry, me friend. Me is sorry your life had to come to this." And as I say that, I unsling my entire bag. I pull out the book of Taylor, and I toss the rest of it off the ravine.
All of your stuff,
All of it.
including your armor,
Yep.
everything.
Yep, all of it.
So you see him start like basically taking all of his YouTube. So all three of you see him start doing this, like grabbing his stuff, pulling it out. You see the book, and then he just starts like walking towards the edge of the cliff.
Is
or
this
whatever.
is this part of the ritual?
No, I go up to freaking Solas.
Huh?
Yanking, what are you doing?
Me is making a choice. Me has been told for a multitude of days now, make a decision. Me is making a choice. Allow me to make it.
Do you see this? Well, I'm pointing at something I shouldn't, but. Why? Who is telling you this?
Me. Me is telling me this.
So you want to jump off a cliff?
Oh, no, me is not. Oh, dear cat, feline, confused one. No, me is throwing various things off cliff. Things no longer necessary or needed.
But the stuff.
No, me has bag here, and bag about to go off cliff. Like such.
I'd like to throw it.
Uh-huh.
I like to
Okay.
catch.
Like, well, I mean, you're behind him and he's throwing it in front of him, so you can attempt, I guess, to intercept. But it's a real dangerous game because you're at the edge of a cliff overlooking the ocean. So.
I guess I will try.
Or grab it out of his hands as he attempts to throw it?
Okay, make a sleight of hand check then. To like intercept his belongings before they go over. What are you doing, Hargraves?
That is it's not 15. That's only for walks. It's 10. That is 12.
Okay.
I rolled
What's your
2 on
passive
that.
perception?
Passive perception?
Yep.
Should
I
be
think he
wise.
passes. I think he.
He's pretty wise.
I think
he
I
passes.
think
He
that's
is-
my whole spell cast.
He is playing a cleric.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I was saying.
Passive perception. 13.
Nice.
He's passed.
So you miss it. Like, he goes to fling it, and you just barely come up short, like missing the straps of his bag and his adventuring gear, and it just goes plummeting down and kind of like dispersing as it does, just flinging like 100 feet down below into the rocks and the waves.
I run up and I grab both of them with my big Goliath hands.
I'm like holding on to the edge of the cliff, being like,
Just die.
Yeah, I just
Hand,
like,
it's like
what the hell are you doing? You're supposed to be doing a ritual or something, and now you're throwing your stuff away?
There is no ritual. There is no way me can bring back what is dead.
You've done it before with Lumi.
Aye.
Wait.
And then me didn't do it with Riken. The power's be gone. Me can't do it anymore.
But
wait.
you still have your power. You were just using it. You threw a fireball at that thing. Don't tell me you don't have your power. I just saw it. I'm not stupid.
No. Me has cast off the weight of Parathor's power. Me's going to do this on me own.
Do what?
Whatever needs to be done. For this world and for me people.
You're just a dwarf. You can't bring people back from the dead and throw fireballs and do all these exceptional things without some help.
Methinks that there is plenty that just a dwarf can do. Methinks lesser have done more. Methinks me needs no gods that just wish to play their games.
I know about your home. I know it's in a Shadowfell or whatever. You can't bring back the dead or transition into other planes without exceptional magic knowledge or help from deities. It's not just something average or even moderately exceptional dwarves can do.
Me will find someone who has exceptional magic knowledge. Or me will find it myself. But me is not using the gods anymore.
Can't you decide to do that after you bring our friend back?
It's too late. Me can't bring him back.
Why? Just try.
I want to walk over to the corpse.
Mhm.
The diamonds still sat on top of it.
Mhm.
Correct? And I would like...
Well, no, because you didn't have the material components to cast the spell that way.
No?
No.
Oh, so then there's no material components.
Mhm.
So, all my stuff just went off the edge.
Mhm.
Looks to you.
Do you have some demons me could use?
No.
Oh, well, it's pretty expensive bringing someone back from the dead. The gods have their price. They're businessmen, just like everyone else.
Can't you pay it in some other way? I'm not a cleric. I'm not a vessel or a representative of the gods. I don't know how this stuff works.
Or a
I know
tool?
I've seen you do it before. What's wrong with being a tool of a god like Parrot or a god of light and a god that brings food and harvest and does nothing but good?
Where was his light and his good in that place? Where was it for all those dwarves? For that pregnant elf? Where was it?
I don't know. Bad things happen. We deal with them. We do what we can. And you had a lot of help on your side. I was telling Thalen, but well, he's dead now. But I was telling him that we couldn't save everybody, but that doesn't stop us from trying. A little bit of help from a god is better than nothing.
Me has been asking for help for quite some time. Me's gotten nothing. There is no help coming. There will be no help coming. What needs to be done will happen because we do it.
But you didn't just fire that fireball by yourself. Isn't that help?
What if it didn't come from the gods? Have we stopped to consider that? There's sorcerers and frickin' warlocks and shit out there. And maybe it did come from the gods. And now that me has decided me's not going to be a fucking doll, it's gone probably.
Well, the last time I checked, I haven't seen you with magic books. It's always holy books and divine scripture. It takes work to get things done.
What's done is done. The shit's gone. The holy scripture, the lantern, the armor, it's all gone. It doesn't matter anymore.
But why? It sounds like you're just throwing it away.
Aye, me is throwing it away.
Why? Why?
Because me is tired. Me is tired of crawling and begging someone who may or may not be there to fucking help me. To help me people, to help me friends. Look what it did for Thalen! So much help it brought him.
I was asking you to help him. So now you're just the same as whatever you think Parator is doing. And instead of helping, you're casting everything away. His sister is still out there. We made a promise to him.
And me can honor his final wish, his final promise. We could get his book published. We can do what we can to honor his memory. And that can keep him alive for us. But his physical form, that is no longer granted to me. Me cannot do that. Me couldn't do it by myself. And when me could, it was because some god deigned that it was in certain moments. But he didn't deign it when Riken died, and he didn't deign it now. They choose who lives and who dies. It doesn't matter if me begs.
So now that I guess you're abandoning your faith, your power, however the fuck that works. How are you going to go fight a vampire cult? I mean, for the past week or so, you've been running around without any armor at all.
You're right.
And you just threw it all away.
You're right. But picking up this old armor that the dwarves wore, and picking up this old war axe, me remembered something. Before the gods and before Parathor's light, me was pretty good at swinging a hammer. Me can be good at swinging a hammer, and maybe swinging a hammer is enough.
No.
This is a lot I don't understand, because, well, I don't know what kind of god issues you're having. It's why won't they listen to you? Why won't they help Thalen, but they were easy enough to help me? I'm pretty sure out of a majority of us here standing right now, from your logics or anything at all, I don't get why I was brought back to life. From all the shit that I've done, for all the people that had died, and Thalen, he has a sister. He has someone he needs to this makes no sense.
The elven woman who died down there
Probably deserved to live more than me.
had a kid, was going to be a mother. Did not deserve to die down there. By any means, me agrees with you. Me just spoke to a Shadar-Kai. And they
What?
confirmed. Did you not see it?
No. We didn't see anything. Did you?
No. Why were they there?
So you spoke to one.
Aye, me spoke to a Shadar-Kai.
And
And the Shadar-Kai has confirmed what me has thought. The gods are playing games. They have their own plans, their own agendas. It doesn't matter what we mortals think or want. They do what they want for their games and their plans. The only one who cares about mortals and what they want is the Veiled Queen. Because she's the one who comes and collects.
Yeah, that all makes sense.
So are you saying the Veil Queen has already come and collected Thalen?
Aye.
So they're really...
What did you try and stop him?
Me
If
was
that's what he
offered-
said, what did you say back?
Me was offered a choice. Me could give up me own life for eternity to save Voss and Thalen for today. Does not guarantee their tomorrow, does not guarantee their future. But for today. And in return, me was going to be forced to play another God's game.
And
There's a small part of me that just wants to hit you, but it's...
well, we could have figured it out, right? Like, you were trying to get Ryken out of his deal. Like, fuck the gods and their games, just agree and then figure it out from there. Get our friends back.
But that would be hard to... Like, I... This is so tough.
If the gods are truly as powerful as they lead us to believe, it would have been agree as soon as me decides that we're going to try and get out of this deal, all three of us would have been gone. Revoke the deal and punish me. Me life is not important to me, but me is no longer going to be a pawn in a god's game.
But and so you would have been sacrificed on the spot?
No, a cleric to carry out her bidding in her realm that she can't do on her own.
Isn't that the Shadowfell?
Aye,
What about your people? Isn't that like, would that basically be like your way in?
aye, potentially it was me way in.
So you threw it all away?
Maybe me has, and me is going to find out.
Now what do we do? Voss is stuck on the other side of the door there with the fucking googly-eyed shit. And what do we do about Thalen?
We can't risk letting it out. Me imagines it could get out if it wanted to, but it already seems pretty pissed at us that we walked in its lair.
It'd be impossible to get back in and face that thing. But if what you say is true, and the Shadar-Kai have already come, there's nothing for Thalen anymore.
Well, what about someone else? Like another cleric?
By all means, try. Take him to the Church of Taiki. Maybe luck's on his side.
So what are your plans now? Your friend's dead. Threw away everything, pretty much. Are you gonna honor Thalen's memory, go after his sister?
Aye, but first, I'm going to turn to Alfarius. I'm going to hand him the book.
Yeah, so he kind of looks at you reaches down with both his hands and just kind of takes the book into his possession and just takes it and stows it in his adventuring bag with the rest of his gear.
It was
And
me,
then-
right? Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It was me, right, to get rid of the stuff for my yard, but me will not throw away for his. Now, me will go on and honor Dalen's memory.
Did I try and fight vampires with a hammer?
Aye, me is going to try and fight vampires with a hammer.
Feels like you're on a fool's errand. Like, why not just give yourself every disadvantage? Amputate some limbs? You know, because then it'll be really worth doing.
Hardgraves, ye and I both know. We're surrounded by fools. This is a party of fools.
We're a few fools less. And there's being foolish and idealistic like Thalen. But then there's pretty much having a death wish. It's like, yeah, I've seen you hit stuff. And sure, you're strong for a dwarf. But we're not talking about simple bandits. We're talking about the undead. Or more profound creatures in the future. You know, when you're fighting undead, it really, you know, helps to have gods on your side. Faith, the ability to turn the undead. There's rumors of clerics so strong that they show their holy symbol and the dead disintegrate before them. Then, you know, a part of me kind of wonders, when things get hard in the future, you're just going to throw away us too? Because you don't need us because you're strong enough? Not everything's based out of your pride. People have to deal with the consequences, and now there's going to be one less man of faith that, or dwarf of faith, that can do anything about it. Short of hit stuff with a hammer.
You're right. You're right. And me is sorry for me selfishness.
Of course he's selfish. You hear, for the first time speaking up, the elf on Sala. As he walks towards you. It's just like your kind. Thinking about nobody other than yourselves, nobody other than your citadels, than your riches, than those around you who actually matter. I say to you as he points, you are here, and you throwing it all away. You refused to save my sister. You refused to save your friends. You matter to nobody. You might as well throw yourself off the cliff because you're helping nobody. The world would be better off without you than having an oathbreaker in his ranks, someone who obviously cares very little about the honor and duty and friendship and the things that he swore. Remember, you accepted your power just like I accepted the sword in my hand in Ilithir. Parathor gave you a gift, And now, for sure, he will take it away. You will be nothing. You are nothing to me. And I'm surprised that these people would even consider keeping you around. You are a fool and a madman. You deserve to be hated and cursed. I told you when we were in the tunnels that I hoped Glorenda would curse you for the rest of your days. I hope he follows through, sincerely. You will never see your family again. They might as well be dead already. You just condemned them to such a fate. The gods don't make deals lightly, and they expect their favor to be returned. You are the vessels in which they interact with the world and carry out their will. You're a fool if you don't see that. It's too bad that good people had to die to get you to this point. You should be ashamed of yourself as a dwarf and a mortal. The beholder's slain. You're welcome to follow me for payment and payout. I'm going to need it to recover, hire people to recover my sister's remains and take her back home for a ritual burial. I can give you the address and the place to meet and the man who's responsible for contracting us for this job, if you wish so.
Even though what you say, I can understand how upset and how disappointed you are with life. And it's really difficult to control how I feel, understanding that the gods or whoever, Parathor, whatever, was not able to help Thalen or Voss. But a part of me feels like I get what Solas did. Because would you want to be in a situation where you had to be forced to do something? Or be given this choice instead of not being able to just do what you're supposed to do? Like, this is difficult to think. There's just so much going on, but I really think that's just selfish of you to say, you who had done nothing during this battle. I understand you're without an arm, but where were you with the beholder? I just feel like I understand your rage, but that was really unnecessary at this moment. You don't know what's going on with all of us at the moment. I know you had lost someone, and I understand. I've lost many. This is really hard to take it sometimes, but out of character, I really just want to say you're such a dick with that character. I'm really upset. You made me angry when you talked to Solas like that. I just want to say fuck you.
Act it out. Do it. Do it, Amanda. Act it out. Act it out. Tell
Back
him.
in
Tell him.
character.
No, no, in character. Tell him. Tell him. You tell him. Tell him, Amanda. Tell him. Fuck you. Tell him. Fuck you. Tell him. Tell him.
Don't be afraid of him.
Do it, Amanda.
Just-
We're breaking walls here. We're breaking walls.
Just
Fuck.
all you care about is money. Even though that's something I should care about. I like money. I like blinkies, but god damn you. Why aren't you standing there sobbing for your sister, but you're like, oh, okay, let's just go back and do blah, 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 blah. It's just, you're just angry because he's a dwarf.
Oh, shit.
Why don't you get angry at the beholder? Why don't you take a moment to think about your sister and the one and who she could have been pregnant to, well, with, you know. I'm used to litters. I'm not used to this, but you're just saying, "Okay, come follow me now." It's just you're unbelievable. Maybe it's the elf. Like I saw it in Thalen a bunch, but don't lash out on Solas.
You know, Lumi,
If there's anyone that should lash out at Solas, it would be me, but I get it. I get what he means. Like, I'm upset. I think I'm just mainly upset because I feel like I should have died and not Phelan after all the shit that I've gone through. Like, I'm risking this party in danger and I don't really want to tell you guys why, or I don't, like...
Thalen's luck ran out. You just happen to have 9 lives.
I feel like my 9 lives should have gone. Especially when Solas brought me back. I thought that was it for me. Especially when I've been through
that's part of why.
But that makes me think, like, does the Cat Lord want me to do something now? Like, am I a part of his plan? I don't know. I just go with the flow. But at the same time, it's like, I felt like I'm just going with life as it is. I don't really have an endpoint. I just live life and do things, and you know, I try to avoid danger and I try to avoid death, but it seems like all that keeps following me no matter what. I left Roenheim for that reason. I've gone incognito and gone away from people, but they keep following me.
Lumi, you're traveling with adventurers. It's what we do. We put ourselves in danger.
Well, yeah.
If you don't want to be in danger and you don't want to die, you're in the wrong place.
I'm not saying that I don't want to die or anything. I'm saying if anything, I felt like I should have been turned to stone. I felt like I should have been at death's door. Phelan had a purpose in life. He wanted to write stories. He wanted to see his sister. I really think it's not a sister. But, you know, I'm pretty sure he wanted to see his master again. I abandoned my family in Chulesh. I abandoned a lot of my friends that I traveled with before meeting you. I abandoned Luthok. That one hurts right to the core. And... nah! So I just go over to Phelan's body. I'm upset. I play with this coin. Upset.
So she sits and cat pouts. And Sala doesn't even address your allegations or your points. He just whatever, more or less.
I throw a rock at him.
He he moves.
I throw more rocks at him.
And he moves again.
I make sure it hits.
And Alfarius
Let me roll for it.
Alfarius comes over to you and takes the rocks out of your paws.
Let me go! The guy's a freaking prick!
And then he sees the other one on the ground and kind of gives them a gentle kick, like just a little further away out of your reach.
Aren't you upset, Alfarius? Why are you staying quiet?
You wonder why.
You have traveled. You.
Alfarius, you're real quiet tonight.
Like,
You
whoa,
and Thalen
dude.
have traveled the longest.
Almost
We're
like you're not
all
here.
that's left.
Lumi, I understand. Stop. Just stop for a moment.
How many friends have you let killed? Have you let die? More for me? More, well, for a cat's 4 paws. More than these paws.
I don't think let is the right word.
I had 3 people die for me escaping Menzoberranzan. Menzoberranzan. I always get that wrong. I'm so sorry.
Barrington.
It's a really scary form of the fucking Barrington Coat Factory.
I had people take me in, show me the world. And I watched them as they were all hung. Not aware of what we were doing was bad. And because of that, people follow me now.
I'm sorry, Lumi, but I have to tell you this. You're not the only one with tragedy in their history.
Then you go to Menzo burying. Don't laugh. I'm sorry, I forgot.
There's an automatic response at this point, just to laugh.
She's
But
really afraid.
You've trained me.
Coat.
I'm
laugh.
not gonna go to Menzo Baranson.
You let his people, and I point to the one I'm throwing rocks at, you let his cousins torture you. I'm assuming I know you have a hard life, but torture.
I'm not saying it
Constant.
doesn't matter, and I'm not saying that it didn't affect you. I'm saying that it happens. It's part of life. Some, it's harder than it is for others. And as much as I appreciate Solas as I look at you for pulling me out of there, I was under some sort of magical effect. And if he hadn't pulled me out, I probably wouldn't have made it. I might be another statue. So for that, he'll always have my thanks.
And that is why I cannot stay mad at you. You
But-
saved my life.
But
I'm still upset with you too.
he has some valid points as I look over at the elf.
No! Don't think he's fair.
You may not like it coming from him, and yes, he's not a part of our group. He's not a friend of ours. He's made that very clear. But there is a burden of responsibility, of honor, especially for dwarves. And I think Solas threw a little bit of that away today. I still care about him. I still care about you. That's why it bothers me so much. That you're... I don't know if you're finding your own feet or this path of discovery, but left and right it seems like you're just sinking deeper. And you go from being doubtful, not wearing your armor, putting yourself at risk. And I know you care about us. I mean, you jumped into shit in the sewers to fetch my favorite sword, which was a gift from Thalen. But there's a point where you put yourself at such a disadvantage. And if this continues to escalate, how can we bring him along to, if we go fight a vampire, because that's probably in our future. It's not safe for us to bring him. Maybe it's for him that we should consider where our futures are going to go. Because we care.
At this point, I'm okay with whatever you do, Solas, but I do agree with Hargraves. Going in without nothing, there's only so much we can do. I understand that pride. I hanged around a dwarf in the Underdark.
And
He was a cleric too.
Don't think it's not lost on me that I've been a danger to the group too. But I've nearly killed you in an accident. Now I want to go through that or killing someone again. There's a reason I've worked alone for so long. That's part of what I liked about this, is you were strong enough to withstand when I lost my composure, when I fell victim to this mutation. I couldn't handle it if I ended up turning on you while you're trying to find yourself. So then I would have to live with that. And I don't want to add another one to the long list of me. Either way, we should give him a good burial. As I walk over to Thalen and I pick him up.
Before you do that, as I'm holding what I once had a long time ago, but Thalen argued back for, that I now will keep, his coin.
Okay. I'll send you the details of the magic item later.
But what I
Now that
wanted
it's
to
in your
do
possession.
at this moment, while I'm there with Thalen,
Mm-hmm.
is I want to toss the coin.
Like, toss it or like toss it?
Flick it.
Oh,
You want
okay.
to flip the coin.
Yeah, flip the coin.
For aesthetic reasons, or you just like?
It does have a magical effect attached to it.
Yeah.
But I imagine you have to be attuned to it for that.
You do,
Yeah.
which is why I'm clarifying with her. If she was attempting to activate the coin's magic, then she can't
Yeah.
because she's not attuned to it yet.
No. I know there's two colors on one side, right? It's gold and silver?
Well,
Platinum.
it's platinum and on one side and gold on the other
And
side.
gold?
Yeah.
Okay. Gold to see if we leave him here and bury him here. Because as a true legend, this is right where the beholder was. I feel like his resting place here would be a heroic ending to Thalen. So that's gold.
Mm-hmm.
Platinum is if we find a way to take him back to his homeland. Which I think was...
In his book,
Hold on.
for reference.
Well, it depends. He has heritage from two places. So where are you
Ooh.
taking him?
Ooh, then we just flip the coin again.
Yeah.
Mama or Papa?
That's a tough decision, yeah.
Flip the coin. That's why we have coins.
So, even numbers are gold. Platinum, I'm just going to say Leor. Because that's what his character thinks is.
Okay, so back to Marseille then from.
Okay, back to Marseille, or we bury him here. I knew it was going to be a heroic tale. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a 4. So even number means, as I look to Hargraves, knowing how Thalen is, and how he boasts about being a hero, I think it would be more necessary to bury him under this big tree here. This is where he died. This is where his story ends. And I think he would want that. It's a very pretty view out here, in some aspect. And I guess in a way we can say that Thalen escaped from the grasp of the, change the story. Escaped the grasp of the beholder. Maybe this way we can say that he set off to another journey, and we never heard of Thalen, the bard. Nice ring?
All right, with me. That's nice. Real nice. So I follow her guidance. Walk over to the tree.
I'm not
Start-
strong enough to. I'm not strong enough to put the shovel.
Oh, that's convenient.
But I try.
Do you do that like half try where you're just like, oh no, I
No.
can't do it?
It's like
No.
a cat in a litter box.
Yeah.
I try. But with my -1 to strength, that's a little difficult.
Okay.
Well, here's the first question. Who has a shovel? I know it's not Solas.
I had one.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Not anymore.
Alfarius, you seem like a man with a shovel.
Oh,
Sure. In
this
this like overly dramatic fashion, unsheathes it. I was in my past a shovel knight, and hands it to you.
That's canon.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Dwarves have hands; those are shovels.
Solas.
Oh,
I guess
they're
I'd
not,
take the
well, they're
shovel.
not good for much else.
They're all wrong, bloody. He's like, oh, now it's going to be harder. Great.
He said handicap myself more. Well, I guess I take the shovel, as I believe I'm the one besides the shovel knight with the most shoveling experience.
Yes.
It's true.
Go
Like,
from-
I would think you would know the best soil that won't harm Phelan.
you mean the soil that's there?
Well, like, you know,
No, I don't. Just tell me all
outside
about it.
information, there are certain places that are best to dig a grave, depending on the soil.
Like places without rocks?
Okay, so I'll begin digging. As I'm unaccustomed to larger folk customs, it is a 4-foot deep hole, but it is 7 feet long because Thalen is 6 foot whatever.
Forgot he's tall.
Tall
Shouldn't it
and lanky.
be, shouldn't it be 6 feet deep? I know you want to be able to crawl out, but
Oh, do you want to dig the hole?
I can dig a fucking hole. As I jump in the hole, I take the shovel and I dig it the rest of the way
All right.
with
So-
my big muscly arms.
You get digging, I scramble out before I can.
Eventually, I finish digging and I crawl out. Reach down. Take Leon's hat off. Make sure that's someplace safe.
Like, put it. I hand gesture the hands like this. Like, put it here.
And I lower him with my large Goliath arms into the hole.
Make sure to close his eyes.
Actually, because of rigor mortis, you can't do that.
Oh.
But it's a good thought. Would anyone like to say any words?
For me, you look like you want to say some words.
Phelan, I know you can hear me.
Fair enough.
God damn it, Mike.
Don't look.
I didn't
Don't
mean
look.
I didn't mean it like that.
Don't look.
He's laughing. I can hear him. It's
So-
distracting.
While you guys are digging the grave and everything, it obviously takes a little bit of time. As doing so, about maybe an hour, 2.5 hours into like digging and prepping the grave, like a light storm is coming in off of the coast, and you kind of get this like day rain that starts like warm and starts falling on the grass with like intermittent split shadows and rays of light cutting through as the storm just almost like some sort of omen as the storm is beginning to move over like Rivergate and engulfing it in strikes of lightning and heavy rain.
So again, Thalen, know you can hear me. We will make sure to end your light novel. As you said before you passed, we will make sure to find Casey, and I will make sure to give, as I have the feathers from his hat, I will make sure to give this to her if I see her. Just like me and Alfarius, you have been with us the longest. Even though you are noisy, obnoxious, keep getting drunk when you know you shouldn't have drank so much, keep being you, I guess I should say. You were a really good friend. It's tough to see you like this when you should be the one saying all the nice words and the inspiring things to keep us going. It's just really odd to see you not up here but down there. I do hope Taiki gives you your blessings, and I'll see you soon. Next.
Our grace.
I'm surprised it's taken this long for me to have to say the burial rites of Thalen. But given the time we did spend together, he wasn't what I first thought he was. He was a fool. He was eccentric, delusional. But at times we needed that, because in that delusion he believed that people could be better than the people they are, and gave us something to amount to. He died as he lived, an adventurer, nothing short of a hero. An obnoxious hero. But a hero nonetheless. And he's probably one of the closest things I've had to a friend in a long time. And maybe now, in his afterlife, as foolish as I thought it was, he can write some more stories and impress whoever he's with on the other side.
Bork.
It's sad he won't be around, and he won't be involved in more stories. It's fucking bullshit when the ones of us that are so full of life are some of the first to go. That's about all I got. I know you don't want to talk to any gods, but if you have any last words for him, now's your opportunity.
You know, a dwarf and an elf are never meant to be friends. But he was only half enough. And he was the best goddamn elf me has ever met. He was inspiring, and he was always looking on the bright side. Me don't think any of us would have made it through some of the tough shit we have done without him. And me hopes his inspiration and his memory keeps us going to be the heroes that he wanted us to be. Me hopes we can honor him for his sacrifice as the hero he was to make sure we all made it out.
Now we're all gathered around Terrowyn, but boss is still in there. What's left of him?
Aye.
Do we know if the Veiled Queen might have come for Boss? Did the Shadar-Kai mention anything about Boss?
Aye. The Shadar-Kai mentioned that Voss is probably within the Veiled Queen's possession too.
You and him seem very close. Just for a while there. We were all. He was new. He seemed like a good man. He's never done us wrong, any kind of wrong. Just wish could have known more about him.
Boss always called me strange. But I honestly thought he was the strange one. He would never really open up, I felt. But I know with strangers, and I know being a tiefling and being from where he was, it would be tough. I agree too that we wish we could have got to know him more. I heard he had fun drunken stories with you guys, but I know I was too sleepy for that. Now I wish I wasn't too sleepy. I could have gotten to see Drunk Voss.
Methinks there is something to be learned from all of this. Me is sorry to see Voss and Thalen go. But me agrees with you. Me wishes me knew them better. Me wishes me could sit here and call them friend. Instead of just a co-worker or an adventuring member along with me. It's hard for a dwarf to be friends with non-dwarves, but you guys are the closest thing me has to family anymore. And me would hate to see any of you join them.
Solfarius walks over to the grave, the rain pattering off of his plate mail, the steam hissing off of his dragonborn scales, and he leans over, kneels in front of Phelan's grave, and he unsheathes wrath, and he slides it into the dirt. And then you hear him utter a short prayer. And then there's a gentle glow in the earth. And it fades. And then he stands up, pulls Wrath out of the dirt, and sheathes it. The ground here is now sanctified. He will be protected from necromantic magic and raised dead spells or being manipulated by those who would use his body for harm. None of that magic will work on his corpse now.
Good.
Thank you, Alvarius. Is there any way you guys could make, like, a little tombstone? Just so we can have one for Voss?
I think it's best that we leave it unmarked. We don't need people digging him up.
Then I go up to the tree.
Mhm.
And I dig out my claw. I just say, because technically Voss's initials, if I'm correct. Wait, let me look at D&D Beyond.
You know, we don't have to leave Voss down there, right? He's not gone forever. I lack the soul power to bring him back, and Solas lacks the faith and ability to bring him back. But he doesn't have to stay dead.
But what if the beholder tipped him over? Broke him to pieces? The beholder was pretty mad at Voss. I don't want to lose hope, but it's... He was turned to stone. If a stone shatters, it would be hard to restore. I do want, like...
What I'm saying is there is hope. If somewhere along our journey we do eventually meet someone who's capable, who has the faith and connection necessary, we should vow here and now to return and bring him back.
Then I put on the tree a huge X. I think you're right. Here marks the spot of Exodus. As you would say so yourself. X marks the spot. We are here.
Just one last jab at Matt.
Oh, no. Yeah. You should. Mummy. Come on. Just... Now look at Solas expectantly.
So Alfarius kind of comes over. That's not what I mean. And he takes out Wrath again and slams it in the ground, and the earth shakes. And then he grabs the holy symbol around his neck, kind of pulls it off, and holds his hand out over the hilt. And you see it begin to sear and smell the burning of his flesh and scales. And then he turns and hands it to you, to Hargraves.
I hold it. Is it hot?
Yeah, it begins to heat up. And as it does, you feel that searing pain of the metal, the iron chunk that he has as his holy symbol.
Fuck.
And then it dissipates.
Before I take it, I take off my gloves that I have. And I put it in the bag of holding.
Good
I don't
idea.
want them to burn after seeing what happened. Like, my hands are shaking.
I take her hand with my hand, and I place the chunk in her hand, and I let it close, and then I hold it with her.
And as it does, it begins to burn into your hand.
Stay strong, Ruby. Stay strong. Stay strong. It'll be over quick. It'll be over quick. Ow! Ow, your claw.
And then it dissipates.
Before taking it, I look at the Dragonborn.
This is a pact with you, Altharius, not with your god.
It's one and the same, Solas. You would know that if you had had any real faith in your path. But this does bind us together.
You are my friend. I'll take it.
Careful, it hurts.
And the app slowly heats its way up and burns a brand marking your hand, and then eventually dissipates. And Alfarius reaches out for his holy symbol.
Hand it back his holy symbol.
He takes it, clips it back,
Is it always that hot?
puts it underneath his his gorgon. Then he takes his hand and holds it out so that you can all see it. And as you do, you see the burning mark kind of dissipate, leaving the holy symbol of his goddess Taylor on his hand. And you look to your own, and it does something very similar in your hands as well. We agree that if ever we find a way to bring Voss back, we will return, slay this beholder, and rescue him, no matter what the cost.
Agreed.
Aye.
For Exodus.
And then he grabs Wrath and pulls it out of the ground once again and resheathes it. He kind of looks up. It'll probably be dark by the time we get back to Rivergate. We should head back.
I pick up the shovel and begin to bury Taylor.
I use my paws.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got it covered.
Apparently.
I don't want to get an infection.
So, you finish laying the earth, you pat it down, take some nearby stones and kind of just lay it over the top. And then you start walking back to Rivergate.
Mm-hmm.
I take one last look back. Look back.
With tearful eye.
I put the feathers in between my ears.
Okay.
One on one side, one on the other.
Alright.
Out of character. Because there's no retconning, I assume. He had the bag of holding.
I have it now.
You have the bag of holding?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He gave it to me.
Yep.
Before he got hit.
Just want to check.
So I put his two feathers. I put the blue one here and the purple one here.
Okay.
Goodbye, friend.
So you feel Alfarius' hand on your shoulder. We have to go. As you turn to head towards the road, the main road that leads to the gate, the front gate of Rivergate, the storm begins to kind of intensify as more and more of the clouds move into the city, into the region. The crash of thunder and lightning in the distance, the flashes of light. And like he guessed, you reach the front gate at right around dark. late dusk. The sun set down. The city's lights come on. The smoke from the chimneys.
Is that
Mhm.
elf guy with us still?
Yeah, he's with you.
Okay, I stay as far away from him as I could.
Great. Really stick it to him.
Shoot some daggers with your eyes.
Do you flip them off
eye
the entire
daggers.
time?
Eye daggers. Toy.
Eye daggers, yeah.
Anyway.
So
He's
the guards really pay you no mind. They're huddled underneath like a small wooden structure, trying to stay out of the rain and keep warm. You just enter the city, feet hitting the familiar cobblestone path and seeing the familiar storefronts and empty streets than what you first saw when you came into the city upon arrival, and start making your way back towards the Ghost Ship Inn. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just typing
I'm
the
just
episode.
making sure. So yeah, so you continue moving through the empty streets and passing people who are kind of running to get out of the rain or hiding underneath awnings, staying dry. This is a very somber and sullen city at the moment. Everything is dark or gray. Eventually you reach the Ghost Ship Inn. You walk through the familiar front door into this half ship, half inn establishment with the banners or the flags of other ships' wrecks or crashes or conquests. Sure of neither. The inn is basically empty at this point. There seems to be nobody downstairs other than the familiar faces of the bartenders who work the normal shift at this hour. So you continue up towards your rooms. And as you climb the top of the landing, you see Patty. And stomping down the corridor, not shortly after her, is Brittle. And she approaches you. I have some very interesting information for you now. So why don't we go to my room and discuss the evil at work in Rivergate? And we're going to take a break.
Really wanted to tell Patty, not now, Patty.
Can't wait till
We'll talk to you later,
Patty.
Patty.
I need
You,
to
Patty.
digest these emotions, Patty.
Same.
Patty don't care. Patty's like a honey badger.
No,
Honey badger don't care.
Patty don't give a fuck.
Don't
Honey badger don't give a fuck.
She broke down doors and broke into our rooms before. She'll do it again.
Yeah, she'll do it again. I'll do it again.
I'll do it again. I'm crazy.
So, we did see. Thank you for the follows, getting those, much appreciated, and thank you, Oak Tree. I know you're not in here anymore, but I'm gonna say thank you anyways. But thank you for the bits, man. We appreciate it. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, I know you missed Thalen's
thank
death,
you
but
so
you
much.
were here for the grieving process and the burial. So
Yeah, we have the video up.
yeah, we do have the video up.
Yeah.
Think a dwarf.
That bounty is finally closed.
See?
Yeah, you gotta tell your dad all about it, by the way, Oak Tree, if you see this later.
Tell
Go
your
watch it
papa.
with him. It's like you already kind of know what's gonna happen. Don't tell
Nice,
your
I
dad. Just say-
see. That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, don't tell your dad what's gonna happen. Just like put it
How did he
on
fit a car bumper in here?
piece
Yeah.
by piece.
Yeah,
Sir Reginald
you
will
send
be in
something
that
like that,
package.
it'd be like wrapping like a baseball bat like on for Christmas morning. You're like, I wonder what this could be. Yeah,
Yeah, dude, it makes me want to spend like $1,000 to ship a pallet,
yeah,
just junk,
yeah, just junk.
and in the very center, his book.
Yeah.
Have a good night, Gavin.
You must have sent the
Good night,
pallet.
Gavin. Thanks for hanging out, buddy.
Valander the
We
Red.
love you,
I
man.
have to ask: are you the famous sculptor Valander?
Mm.
I gotta ask. I need to know if you're in here. I love your stuff.
Yes.
No, you're not. No,
Trev
you're not.
the
Don't pull my leg.
vampire
Don't
is
you
raiding
pull
with
my
a
leg.
party of
Don't
9.
play games with me, Valander.
Hi, Trev.
Trev Vampire, thank you so much for the raid. We really appreciate it. Why don't you, hey, all them subs and stuff, why don't you defend us with your newly acquired fireballs there, protect us from these raiders. Listen, welcome to Legendary Action, where we play live Dungeons & Dragons in 5th edition in my homebrewed setting of Terrowyn. The party actually, you all just barely missed out on some serious sadness as they laid some fallen friends in the ground, buried their past.
It's not about the past. Gotta
Buried
look forward
them.
into the future.
Just wrenching it. Wrench!
God.
It hurt.
It's all this guy's fault.
Yeah.
He wouldn't bring him back. Bring him back.
Bring it back.
All right, so before we went to break, you had walked up the stairs of the Ghost Ship Inn and were heading back to your rooms, where you ran into your old acquaintances, the gnome wild sorcerer Patty and her warforged bodyguard Brittle. And she asked you to come back to her room so that she could discuss, from what you probably assume, is her discoveries at the Wizard's Circle of Mirrors, which is the Wizard's Circle of the city of Rivergate, which you are currently staying in. Because there's been a lot of suspect shit happening. Suspect. Fucking down low. Crazy stuff. Talking evil. We're talking Guthias trees and forests underground and fucking beholders, if that's even related to it. Who knows? Phase spiders. Twig blight problems. Evil dire rats. Yeah. It's been good.
It's been good.
It's been a good few weeks.
We still have
Enjoying
that
it.
little bastard, don't we, in the back?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
Twig
The little
blight.
twig blight, the one you captured.
We
Yep.
captured a twig blight, put it in our bag of
Mhm.
holding.
He's in a place where no one can hear him scream.
Yeah,
They kind of squeal. They're like,
yeah, you kind of did.
Something like that. But so I look at Patty.
And she looks back at you.
and I looked at her. She looked
Looks
at me.
And tension.
Patty, now is not the time. I understand you have important things to discuss, but we just went through quite the day. And I'm pretty sure, as you can see, some of us didn't make it.
She kind of looks around. Well, you do seem around too light or so. So, what happened? The last I heard, you were going for twig blights.
That's how it all started.
Twig
That's always how it
blights
starts.
ended in face spiders, ended in Dwarven Ruins Citadel. Fallen adventurers that we met up with, and a beholder. We barely escaped with our lives.
A beholder
Yeah, you know, the big eyes, the
Here.
tentacles.
in Rivergate.
Below.
Below Rivergate.
Yeah, just
Or are you serious?
the path took us a little ways out of town. Yeah, it's down there.
Oh my. Is it dead?
No.
It's not dead.
We heard it, but when we said, we barely made it out.
But you went to the sewer looking for twig blights.
Yeah. That's
How
exactly
do you
what-
end up in the lair of a and not even just how do you stumble to the entrance to the a dwarven fortress entrance to the deep roads? Like, how do you people are some of the unluckiest individuals I've ever met in my life.
Well, apparently Rivergate's built on ruins, built on ruins, built on wonky sewer system. And we
I
found
would
this
say
weird...
ancient and it works, but wonky, okay.
The sewers connect to natural caverns, probably carved by the dwarves. that they had a citadel down there years and years and years ago. It's the Beholder's home now.
That's not good. It's not good for the city.
Yeah, there was.
It's not good to leave something just living here. I mean,
We
I've always heard rumors of some people going down there, adventurers just disappearing and never coming back. But nobody actually ever really knew what was in the ruins below the city. This is quite surprising.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think any of them made it back.
It
Yeah.
was only us four and an asshole with one arm.
What do you mean? Did one of them lose their arms?
Yes.
I mean, they're both dead, and you're sure of this, right?
Yeah, well,
Both Thalen and Voss.
Oh,
They're both
Thalen's
dead.
dead. Voss may as well be. He's petrified. He's
He's
turned to stone.
petrified.
It's one of those I-beam things.
he's
Got
a
him.
statue.
Listen, let's not stand here in the hallway and talk. There's too many prying ears. And at this point in time, I fear that there may be individuals who are interested in overhearing us. We should really be heading back. Follow me back to the room. I'll explain everything that's going on. It really can't wait. It really can't.
Okay. But just understand that we're
I went there as a favor for you. I need to share this with you.
is there ale in the room?
No, I haven't been in there for a few days, but you could order. I'm sure they'll bring it up.
Me's getting some ale.
I think for once in a while, in a very rare chance, I think I might too.
But take a drink.
I'm drinking.
I'm definitely not.
Come on, a toast to Voss.
And to Thalen.
Let me hear what she has to say first. Once we know what the situation is, we can get as drunk as we want.
Me's holding you to that.
And I will too.
Follow her to the room.
Okay. So you walk down the hallway and go all the way to the end to her suite. And she opens the door and you go inside. She uses a spell to light the fireplace and it begins blazing. And she comes on the inside and she turns brittle. Why don't you stay on the outside of the door and make sure we don't get any other uninvited guests to come, looky-loo or trying to overhear us. She's brittle, just nods. The sound of her armored helmet scraping her body, and then she closes the door behind you. Well, take a seat. Might as well.
I sit on her bed.
Okay. Yeah, so you just jump on there. It's a suite, so it's like a king size.
So, I make
So
really
it's
good
giant for her because she's a gnome. Huge. It's a huge bed.
I take the opportunity to kick my boots off. Walk over. Take a seat.
I realize how sore I am. And I take, while she's talking, the moments to undo this old rusted armor that's probably giving me tinnitus.
Fair.
Tetanus.
Sore and naked.
Both.
Armor's loud,
Yeah.
Screaming armor. Anyway, so so she comes over to one of a few large kind of lounging chairs around a small table with some decorative flowers, and even though she hasn't been in the room's probably been getting service, so somebody's obviously coming up here and changing out the flowers. Probably one of the maids. And she kind of just crosses her legs and rests her hand. It's actually fairly comical because this chair is big and they're intending to serve people, and you're actually kind of comical sitting too because you're just like a Goliath, so you're huge.
Yeah.
So you're like fitting on the chair,
Yeah.
like legs all narrow, just sitting,
Wiggling my toes.
wiggling your toes. Yeah.
Wiggle my toes.
The,
Wiggle my toes.
the arms hugging my hips. This means I have to attention. Can't relax.
Hoggrace. What is it that you have, of everything that you've seen and experienced so far in the city, what's your taking of what's been happening
As a whole,
as a whole?
I have a few suspicions. I think the Circle of Mirrors is hiring people to cover up their own mess. Maybe they've been doing some dark magic. It's obvious that it's penetrated the area, this magical disturbance. And that's where the twig blights and the infected rats and whatever else is in this goddamn city. So, magic gone awry, pretty much.
Indeed. Anything else? Any other comments on it?
I feel like you're leading me to something, but I'm not really sure what you want me to say. It's deep. We think we saw a demon or a devil of some sort under the city, and there's some monsters and stuff of that, but I'm not really sure where it's leading.
Neither do I. For sure. I have several suspicions. Upon entering the Circle of Mirrors, like most of the city when we first arrived, I sensed a darkness in the magic in the weave, almost like a sickness. Aside from the rats, anything else that you've encountered out of the ordinary? Anything else unnatural?
I killed a couple foglets a couple days ago. The rats mutating, but there was a whistle or a pitch, almost like something set them off. They sloughed off their skin, formed into these monstrous creatures. Then they changed back. So that was weird. The pitch, and then when we went to the sewers, we found the twig blights. Seems like they're gathering and they were erupting from this tree, this growth.
Tell me about the tree. What about it? What did you see?
It was huge. It had roots that extended throughout what seemed like the whole sewer system. At least the second level down.
And the twig blights were doing what? Spawning from it?
That's what it seemed like. It seemed like they were spawning from it. I don't know if they were nurturing it in some way. And
Was it
pulsing?
Was it alive?
The tree?
The tree. Was the tree alive?
It was till we killed it. I think we killed it. I think we burned. Solas burned it with his divine power.
Solas did.
Yeah, he hit it with a fireball, shielded us from the twig blights with a wall of fire, granted by his divine power and gifts.
So she looks to Alpharius. Alpharius, both you and Solas have to have felt that there's something off about the city at the moment. That there has to be something quite odd that works here. Haven't you? Alpharius just nods in agreement.
No. My connection with the weave and me god has not been very stable recently.
But nothing has felt strange to you since you've been here. Not at all?
I mean, no, it's not something me has felt.
And this just makes it even more perplexing and complicated. Whatever we're dealing with might be some sort of deeply evil magic, or it might have been connected to some sort of devils or devil summoning magic, something powerful and corrupting.
What did you find? Obviously, you have some information. You saw something.
All I found was an intense, corrupting magical field permeating through the circle of mirrors.
Wouldn't they all know about that too? That's magic is what they do. So shouldn't that be, I don't know, on the top of their list?
Assuming that they're not complacent.
That's what I'm getting at. If anyone summoned a devil or something of that nature, they're the first ones that come to mind.
I mean, maybe it takes detect magic spells for the most part to actually see the weave in the work. Being a sorcerer, I have a special connection to the things around me and the world, and I can feel the magic as it moves through me, as I move through it to the environment. It's not the same for wizards. Other people practice various forms, divine magic per se. The strangeness that the cleric doesn't seem to feel this, but the paladin does to some degree. It just complicates it and muddles everything up. I'm not really sure what to think anymore.
Well,
I thought for sure it was related to maybe necromantic magic or energies.
well, when we were down below and we saw the tree, and we sensed a great evil, almost like it had absorbed it in these elven ruins. Like it was, and the tree was a bit magical in and of itself, and like it was affected.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
A Gothias tree only grows when an exceptionally evil and dark magics permeate the natural world in some way or are highly concentrated. Most of the time, negative energies like that just move through the weave without even really affecting much of anything or anybody. But
They
it
don't
means that
resonate,
they just
kinda.
don't. No, it means that something extraordinarily terrible is taking place within Rivergate. The question is who is responsible solely? The Circle of Mirrors, it's obvious that several of them, maybe many of them, or someone there is involved in it.
Yeah, because
The fact that you saw this devil down below is a little troubling and worrying.
when we chased it, when it emerged back up onto the streets, it used the exit. That was pretty much across from the Circle of Mirrors. That was kind of our first indicator.
Can you just explain what's going on?
I'm trying to.
Well, no one else could
I'm
have
trying the best that I can.
summoned or affected the weave in this nature, right? Like a cult or something like that.
It's possible, of course. If you get enough individuals together who can cast the spells. The question is what is it that's doing it? It's obvious that it's magic. It's obvious that it's affecting, whether it's divine in its nature or arcane, is what's confusing me and throwing me off.
It's
Something
not.
about this is disturbing.
You can't. Can you feel the difference between something that's divine or arcane? Does it feel different?
Not necessarily.
I don't have access to anything like that. So.
What I'm saying is that my instincts are telling me that there's something terrible going on or will be happening.
Well, we have one of the twig blights. We're supposed to deliver it to Ansem so he could research it, try and use what he can find by dissecting it or doing whatever he's going to do to track it back, find the source of all this. Or at least that's how I understood it.
I open up the bag of holding.
Okay.
Not really much aware of its property since I never got to hold it, but I just like open it up and just show it to you. Just show you.
Show
the-
what?
Yeah, show what?
Just show the bag. I don't know.
Okay. So she looks at it. It looks like a bag, Lumi. Congratulations.
Well, what's in here?
I'm sure it is.
Just trying to help.
I will say this, though. What I did confirm in my trip there is that not only is this concentrated there and permeating through the weave in Rivergate, whatever it is it's powerful magic for sure. It takes people of incredible skill and knowledge and arcane traditions to cast magic at this sort of level, to create whatever is happening here. Whatever ritual is happening, whatever is going on, is exceptionally dangerous at the kind of magnitude which could destroy Rivergate itself. The entire city, thousands of people's lives lost. Whatever is happening is dangerous, and it centers around the Circle of Mirrors. And in my suspicion, it centers around their Grand Master Kavira. What we need to do is get inside and take a look around. Explore it for signs of evil magic or misuse, or maybe even just close in on the source. And we may need assistance from Lord Manfred. We would need an inn. We have to meet with the Lord of Rivergate and explain to him what we suspect is happening.
Won't he want something more solid than that? I don't know about the standing of the Circle of Mirrors and Rivergate versus his position, but
As of late, from what I understand, the Circle standing is just fine. Although it is strange that Lord Manfred did take on a new magical advisor not that long ago.
is that
And not from the Circle of Mirrors, which is unusual. As most kings, queens bring in rulers from the city in which they rule from the Circle.
How do you propose we get a meeting with this Lord Manfred?
Tell him something he'd like to know, like a beholder beneath his city.
I guess the question is, who would we talk to arrange the meeting? So, just taking a wild shot. Maybe he doesn't have an open door policy.
No, we would need a royal introduction from someone high in nobility, someone who could vouch for us and our intentions and make sure that they're not ill will or needed, especially in light of the fact that I am a sorceress and a magic caster.
So,
I would assume doing some deed that benefits the city greatly would be the best way to earn an introduction. The Beholder. What can you tell me about the Beholder and encountering it in the ruins?
Well, it was pretty crazy. We were underneath in the ruins, fighting off some phase spiders that I guess had taken up residence, and poked its eyes in, and next thing we know, some other adventuring group started attacking it.
This other adventuring group, they were there for what reason? Who were they? And she kind of sits up. Come now.
Well, they were hired by
Hired by who?
someone in the city. We didn't stop to get his name.
So Alfarius gets up and he shifts and walks over to her and hands her a note. One of the survivors wrote this for us. And he gives it to her. She opens it up, reads it, and then she jumps up. This is how we get in. They were contracted by a noble who lives in the family. Not really an eccentric, but he's a collector of of artifacts and exploration. It's kind of a hobby of his family's. The Vermilion estate.
Yeah, how do we do that? Obviously, we didn't kill the beholder. And
No, you didn't, but you do have something to collect from him.
So that's where we need to go?
I guess so.
So she like folds up the paper and puts it back in. We need to leave first thing in the morning and head to the estate. You will arrive, and per the instructions of the note, and according to the individual who wrote this for you, you are due a large sum of reward for even doing the exploration. Slaying the beholder apparently was not necessarily wasn't in their contract, according to this. It was the exploration of the ruins and locating the vault, which they did successfully.
Well, that makes sense.
Well,
You may have to put your drinking plans on hold.
We go there, you accept your reward, and maybe as a favor in lieu of material reward, whatever he offers, we ask for an introduction to the courts where we can approach Lord Manfred.
It's as good a plan as any.
Well, it all rides on that elf not cashing in first.
I don't know. We kind of saved his bacon back there, so.
Yeah, he didn't want to save ours, though. Don't forget, he didn't want to share his map or his knowledge by any means.
No, I remember all of that.
now it makes more sense.
Well, he wasn't fond of us anyway, especially you. But yeah, we'll go first thing in the morning. It's not like we can interrupt a noble at night. But since we are going to try and speak to a noble, we better not get shit-faced drunk.
I was just planning on having a sip or two.
It takes a lot for a dwarf to get shit-faced drunk.
You say that, but I've seen it happen. We've been traveling together for a little bit now.
Aye, and me was fine the next morning.
Yeah, but you've been pretty messed up in other ways. All right, we'll meet in the morning. You can have a little nightcap for posterity, for the memory of our friends, but keep it light. And then we'll do what we gotta do.
That being said, though, you said the individual Ansem is expecting you back, correct? Do you know what
Yeah.
the nature of these studies was he was to do on the twig blight?
Not specifically. You said it would probably kill the creature, and it was in order to try and track back what's causing this. Magical experimentation of some sort.
About the vampires, I believe.
No, this is well beyond this. This has nothing to do with vampires. Vampires are the least of our worries. If he can confirm any suspicions that I might have, if he can narrow down what the magic is, what caused it, he might be able to possibly run a test where he can reverse engineer the spells or the magic, the corrupting magical essence to see what's coming from it, what the nature of it is.
With any luck.
Well, we need to go. We need to go there now. We need to take him to Twigblight. We can't stay here. He needs to get started as soon as possible. The sooner he finishes this and we can meet with Lord Manfred, the more information we have at our disposal is the better.
Fuck, I hate this, but you're right.
Fine.
Oh, God.
You know what? I'll go ahead and take it. I'll be quicker. Let me take it. I have the bag as I swing it around a little bit. Swing it around my back.
Don't get
I'll
in.
go.
All right, just don't get into any trouble.
I take off.
Okay. So as you're leaving and like running out, you suddenly you feel lighter and faster. as Patty casts haste on you. As she just, boom, this tabaxi just takes off, just running, right?
Yeah.
We'll wait here and see what happens then. She should return momentarily. Hopefully he can get started on it right away, and then we can figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? You said earlier that you suspect that the Circle of Mirrors has hired somebody to cover up their mistakes. What is the nature of that particularly, and how do you know this?
They're, I don't want to say friends of mine, but they're other blood hunters. They're, they were hired by the Circle of Mirrors to hunt something down.
Something down.
Yeah.
I
Well,
see that you suspect it's the Fiend.
I suspect it's the Fiend. Yeah.
Hunt it down, you say. So, let's look at what we have. We have a strange occurrence of corruption in the city, strong enough that it's changing the very wildlife, trees, and in essence of the ground and earth around the city of Rivergate itself. Dire rats are transforming into grotesque creatures. Twig lights were overrunning the sewers. And this mysterious fiend that you said that you saw in the ruins.
Yeah. There's so many notes.
Is starting to feel like corruption from would be the right way of putting this, from permeating consistent contact from fiends. That means somebody is summoning devils and keeping them here for far too long. Only creatures of that sort of evil nature concentrating in one place for long periods of time. It would explain why everything has happened the way it is. Somebody is summoning devils
Yeah,
and
but
not
aren't they supposed
sending them back.
Aren't they supposed to complete their job and kind of, once they're done, they go back?
Yes and no. Not if you find a way to bind them. Only somebody of exceptional power and knowledge is capable of performing those sorts of rituals.
Who's the new magic advisor?
I'm not really familiar. I believe Kavira mentioned that his name is Lintheus. He apparently arrived in Rivergate 4 or 5 months ago. I think they say he hails from Kriat, in the far north in the Riverlands. They don't necessarily have... Kriat's circle doesn't necessarily have the most well-known mages or wizards, but they are in fact still a circle, so official training and such, but that's not where he's supposedly from. He may be a wayward wizard or self-taught. Either way, apparently Lord Manfred took to his magical knowledge and ability, took to him fairly strongly from what I've heard. And that's who he chose to replace the previous magical advisor to him.
Oh, I'm not there. Never mind.
Oh, yeah, you left.
I'm like, I'm not there.
You are not there.
If it wasn't so obvious that the power and this corruption, this magic was emanating from the Circle of Mirrors itself, I would suspect involvement from an outside source like Lintheus. Him arriving, the timing. I would know for sure if I could get close enough to him. So now the meeting with Lord Manfred is double and more important. But it all leads back to the Circle of Mirrors. Whatever's happening there, it could destroy the entire city.
Now, I think you might be right, especially as blood hunters. Sometimes we seal stuff up, but most of the time it's a matter of hunting creatures.
Would a blood hunter be above taking a contract to eliminate a person as opposed to a monster?
Well, it depends.
Depends on how heavy the purse is
How
or
I-
who they reach out to.
who they reach out to, how heavy the purse is, as well as is it an official contract from a blood hunter organization or is it a personal deal? We're given certain liberties to take our own work. So it can fall to the morality of the hunter themselves.
Well, let us hope that they're not involved in any more deeply involved in the matter than they were hired to hunt down this fiend and bring it in control or destroy it. Hopefully to destroy it. If they were hired to capture it, it more or less confirms my suspicions of the Circle of Mirrors. Devils should be destroyed, not captured and kept. They're too dangerous, too smart, especially the higher ones. And think about this. It's not like they're summoning imps into this world. Archdevils, higher devils are the only things powerful enough to carry this sort of immediate corruption and happen over such a short amount of time. Because one thing I do know for sure, as this has only been a recent development in the last few months after speaking to other students and individuals at the Circle of Mirrors who have been practicing magic as of late. They started to sense the strange disturbance in the weave only a few months ago.
Well, the creature we saw, we didn't really get a good look at. So it was bestial, had a tail, orange, spikes and the like. I don't know if it was archdevil or what level it was at. I do know it ran fast.
If it was any form of higher devil, it wouldn't have ran from you. It has no reason to. It doesn't fear any of you. Something as strong as a chain devil could have killed all of you. This doesn't bode well for the city. I fear we've chosen a poor time to track down Phelan's lost friend.
Maybe this is leading us right down that path.
What say you, Solas?
About what? We're
All
going to
of
take
it.
care of it.
Are we?
Aye, that's what we do.
Confident individual he is.
Well, yeah. A lot's gone on over the past day.
Well, let us hope that Luminous can get the Anselms and get the test in order then. And so that brings us to you.
Yes,
As
sir.
you dart through the city streets, avoiding everybody, those few individuals brave enough to go into the rain and go out to do various activities at night. You dash your way through the streets, jumping over obstacles, climbing up on roofs, taking shortcuts through alleys. And you eventually find yourself at the front door to Anselm's. That same two-story Tudor-style building with that colored front door.
I knock on the door really loud.
You don't get a response.
I knock again. Anthom, it is luminous. I have what you... Open the door!
I hear you. I'm coming.
Hurry!
Hold on a minute. Then you hear some like shuffling on the other side of the door, and you can distinctly pick up, even over the rain, the sound of footsteps as they kind of move down the staircase through a living area, following the footsteps, tracking it with the creaking of the floor and the old boards. And then you hear the sound of locks unlocking and mechanisms moving. And he opens the door to see you, ears down, wet, dripping off of your clothing, your armor, just soaking the ground. And, well, come in.
I go in and kind of do a...
And he like, oh, what are you? Why? I could have given you a towel or something else to dry off with. You're not an animal. And he closes the door. And then he comes over to you. So, were you successful, I assume? You're back, but where are the others?
We lost a few, but to the point.
Well,
As I
that's
put
a
the
terrible
bag-
tragedy, but
I put the bag of holding down. I dig on through. I kind of put like some of my body in there, and I bust it out.
so you yank out this twig blight. It starts like screaming and
Hiss
just like
at it.
kicking at it,
I hiss
and it
at
just
it.
stops. Mhm. And he looks at it. Hold on a minute. Hold that. He looks around the room, and then he walks over to his shelf, and you see this strange, like, almost glass and gold trimmed, like embellished cube. And he brings it over to you, and opens the top, and you hear like a mechanical clicking sound, and it pops open. There's almost like a hiss, like from like a cryo container, breaks out. Put it inside quickly.
Nah,
You shove it in there. It's kind of
Yeah.
like clawing at you,
caught that.
and you close it, and you hear the mechanical clicking sounds again. And he holds it in place, and he looks at it. He says, "Oh, this is a magnificent test subject. How many of these were down there?"
A lot. But
A
they're
lot. And they
pop-
were coming. Where were they coming from?
a tree.
A tree. Like, what kind of tree?
A big, slimy, disgusting tree. It's on fire now, so.
It's gone.
Well,
So no more of these.
well, I'm not sure. We were running because we burned it, and then the sewers were collapsing, and we had to run because of the fire. And let's hope.
Well, that's fascinating. I can start running the tests on these right away, and figure out what the nature of this corruption is. Yeah, it's very strange. If it spawned from a tree and wasn't spawning from a smaller, the bushes and other shrubbery, because twig blights are extraordinarily unusual, especially in an urban setting like this. They require highly concentrated levels of dark magic and corruption in order for them to even be born and sprout from, let alone from there to be some sort of tree that's spawning them, large tree. Because I know ancient trees underneath the city, left over from the tending and gardens of the elves, but this is a whole nother level of magic that we're dealing with.
Well,
It's far worse than I thought it could have been. I assumed this was the results of some practicing necromancer doing things he shouldn't be doing, but this is far more dangerous than that.
all I can say was we went deep into the sewers to find the source. We also encountered some face spiders while we were down there.
Oh, yes. Oh, spiders are everywhere. Strange creatures in the world down below, places that people haven't been for years, and he's just kind of takes it. And you see him kind of like agitate the twig bite. He shakes it, and it kind of like bounces a little bit, and he just seems kind of happy with it. And he's like, either way, you wait here, and I'm going to take this up to the lab, and I'm going to start trying to reverse the magic and set the spell in place, and I'll come back down. You can warm yourself by the fire, and he kind of points to the fireplace.
Do you have a towel?
I do, as a matter of fact, and I insist that you use it before you sit in my chairs. He sets the box down for a moment on his like coffee table, and he goes, opens up like a coat closet and pulls out, kind of shuffles through, and you hear him like, oh, where did I keep that? And something falls onto the ground. Oh, here it is, and he pulls out this like large, fairly large, like kind of burgundy looking like towel like material. And he comes and brings it over to you, gives it to you, turns, picks that up. All right, now warm yourself by the fire and I'll be back. Goes up the stairs, onto the landing, opens up the door at the top of the stairs, and closes it behind him and goes into the back.
So I sit by the fire. The first thing I do is I take out the feathers that I put in my ears and I kind of dry them out. Kind of go,
The ones from Thalen's hat?
yeah.
Okay.
And I set them aside. I take my scarf off. I kind of do myself. Out of respect now, I kind of go to like a spot that doesn't have a lot of things around me at a close proximity, and I do a bit of a shake.
Nice.
But
He
then
gave
I-
you a towel and you do it anyways.
But then I still take the towel and do that.
Okay.
And then I don't sit on the chairs, I just sit right by the fire.
Okay.
And I wait.
All right. So, as you kind of sit in front of the fire, and it warms your fur, dries you off, you find yourself slipping slowly into slumber as your eyes grow heavy and the damage to your body and the pain of what you went through the day kind of just finally all collapses inward on you, and you fall asleep in the chair. You're not necessarily sure for exactly how long you're asleep, but you find yourself jumping awake, alert, and your ears standing up on your head. Your fur pricks up. And the sound of the rain hitting outside is somehow louder and it's amplified. As you turn to look over the top of the chair, you see a man standing in the doorway of the outside, the door wide open. Darkened by the shadowy interior of the common room that you're in. He takes a step forward and falls onto the floor in the common area. And you can see blood coming from his chest underneath, flowing out onto the floor. Then you hear the distinct sound of footsteps rushing up the stairs. And another individual bursts through the door. And you hear distinctly, Nikolai, listen to me. And this individual looks at you with a hat very similar to Thalen's and her auburn hair. Tight armor and duster cloak with a set of beautiful swords and a large instrument strapped to her back. Where's Ansem? He needs help immediately or he'll die. Until next Friday.
What? Oh!
It's fucking Casey, isn't it?
You're gonna die!
I guess we'll find out Friday, won't we?
You're all gonna
Fucking
die!
You're all dead.
That was
We
bad
all
part.
That's raid.
I got it set up.
All right, cool.
D&D.
Oh, for
I
SETI
recognize that
D&D.
name.
We recognize those individuals. They're great individuals. Give them your love. Drop those fireballs in chat. Raid the Loomy Hearts and
you're
we'll show them
welcome.
some hype and some love.
you're
So
welcome.
we're going to get that going. Thank you all so much for spending time with us. Subs, follows, gifts, bits, giveaways, winners. Congratulations. You're all amazing. Join the Discord. hit us up on our social medias, Twitter, all that good stuff, and you can ask us, talk to us anytime. We love having you here. Thank you so much for all the raids, support.
Get in
You're an
there.
amazing community.
Get in
And
there.
Get in there.
we're going to send you on over to Forsetti D&D. Have a good night, everybody.
Do the fireballs and get in there.
Get you.